The father of a UN animal welfare worker who died in the Ethiopian air disaster has described her as a very soft and loving person and said, "It's hard to imagine life without her." Joanna Toole, 36, was one of the 157 passengers and crew who were killed when the Boeing jet crashed within minutes of takeoff from Addis Ababa yesterday morning. At least 12 passengers, including Ms. Toole, from Exmouth, Devon, were traveling to Nairobi for a UN environment gathering. On Twitter she described herself as an ocean protectionist, lover of yoga and vegan foodie who was passionate about the earth. U.S. plane maker Boeing is now facing questions about the crash, which is the second in 5 months involving a 737 MAX 8. In October, 189 people were killed in the Lion Air tragedy in Indonesia. In response to yesterday's crash, China and Ethiopian Airlines have now grounded all planes of the same model. Ethiopian Airlines said 7 Britons, 1 Irishman, 18 Canadians, and 8 Americans were among 149 passengers and 8 crew killed when the plane came down near the town of Bishoftu. Polar expert Sarah Offret, a British-French dual national, and former Hull resident Joseph Wade Hawker were also named as victims. Flight tracking data showed the plane's vertical speed had fluctuated wildly in the last seconds before the crash, though experts say it is too early to say what caused the disaster. Ms. Toole's father Adrian told Sky News, "It's dreadful she won't be able to carry on her work. I don't think I'll ever give up expecting her to ring." He also revealed his daughter kept homing pigeons and pet rats and would travel to the Faroe Islands in a bid to prevent whaling. Mr. Toole said she had flown around the world but added, "Personally I never wanted her to be on a single one of those planes." He said, "Joanna's work was not a job, it was her vocation." She never really wanted to do anything else but work in animal welfare since she was a child. Somehow that work took her into the international sphere, and for the last 15 years she has been working for international animal welfare organizations. That involves a lot of traveling around the world. Although personally I never wanted her to be on a single one of those planes. I'm an environmental campaigner myself, so partly it was because of the damage to the environment but also because it's a dangerous occupation to be flying. Up until now she had been lucky. Joanna was a very soft and loving person. Everybody was very proud of her and the work she did. We're still in a state of shock. Joanna was genuinely one of those people who you never heard a bad word about. She was one of those people who burned the candle at both ends. She never had any doubt that she wanted to work in animal welfare and on the international scene. That meant a lot of travel. It's hard to imagine life without her until the data stops. That is why some people are referring to unstable vertical speed. You would not expect a descent unless you were immediately returning, and if that was the case you wouldn't then expect the aircraft to climb again. After takeoff, aircraft either climb or fly level for a period then climb again. Boeing said it was deeply saddened by news of the crash and would send technical experts to Ethiopia to help investigate the crash. The plane came down near Bishoftu, Ethiopia, 37 miles, 60 kilometers, south of the Addis Ababa. A witness told the BBC it took rescuers until 11 a.m. to arrive. Minutes and seconds before its crash, including in the final moments when it seems to have been locked in a terrifyingly accelerating nosedive. Investigations thus far by the Indonesian and American aviation authorities have concluded the Lion airplane also hit the sea after a violent nosedive. The New York Times reports that investigators are considering whether that dive might have been caused by updated Boeing software that was meant to prevent a stall, but that can send the plane into a fatal descent if the altitude and angle information being fed into the computer system is incorrect. The change in the flight control system, which can override manual motions in the MAX model, was not explained to pilots, according to some pilots' unions. After that crash, Boeing said that it was continuing to evaluate the need for software or other changes as we learn more from the ongoing investigation. It was unclear if the company had made any changes. In a statement on Sunday, Boeing said it was deeply saddened to learn of the crash of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302. A Boeing technical team is prepared to provide technical assistance at the request and under the direction of the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, the company said. The state-owned Ethiopian Airlines calls itself Africa's largest carrier and has ambitions of becoming the gateway to the continent. The airline does have a better safety rating and a newer fleet than some neighboring operators. A number of African airlines are banned outright from EU airspace, including the flag carrier of neighboring Eritrea. But in addition to 16 fatal incidents costing 102 lives in the 1960s, 70s, and 1980s, the airline has now suffered 6 fatal incidents in the last 30 years, including other 2 huge tragedies. In 1996, after a hijacking and a failed water landing, 125 people died on Flight 961 in Moroni, the capital of the Union of the Comoros in the Indian Ocean. And in January 2010, 82 passengers and 8 crew died when EA Flight 409 from Beirut to Addis Ababa slammed into the Mediterranean shortly after takeoff. Boeing 737 is the world's most sold passenger jet family and is considered one of the industry's most reliable. The MAX 8 is the latest version of the aircraft, which Boeing rolled out in 2017 as an update to the already redesigned 50-year-old 737. By the end of January, Boeing had delivered 350 MAX jets out of the total order tally of 5,011 aircraft.